It's with great sadness that I have to announce that one of the greatest rivalries in the history of football has come to an end, as my great rival Richie Wellens, manager of Chester for the last 6 years on his own road to glory parallel to mine, has just left to go and manage Hull in the Championship, with Chester top of League One and us second, with us level on points and a cup quarter-final coming up against each other. We were supposed to write another chapter in this rivalry and he's ruined it. Hello and welcome to part 68 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we've got a couple of League One games for you. We're at home against Bolton and away against Barnsley. Since you were last with me, we've been in some very good form. There are still plenty of draws sort of filtered in throughout all of our wins, but importantly, we're unbeaten in 13 games in the league, and we just did this to Manchester City under-23s. Which I know it's only their under-23 team, but it's still Manchester City, and we scored 7 goals past them. It's the highest scoring game in the history of the Checkatrade Trophy, which is now a trophy that I very much am in favour of and would like to win, especially because we've got a quarter-final on telly against our rivals who've developed over the course of the last however many seasons. Chester. But as I mentioned in the intro, it is a sad time at Chester because their manager has moved on. Richie Wellens, he was there for 6 years. He joined them in 2020 with them down in the National League North, and his career has run parallel to mine ever since. If we look at his career milestones whilst at Chester, won the Conference North, won the FA Trophy, won the National League, got promoted from League 2 into League 1. If we compare that to my managerial history, let's have a little look. No, that's the wrong way to do it, isn't it? We go on here and then manager history. So I obviously had to start a little bit earlier, a couple of years earlier than him, because I started 2 divisions lower. But I made my way up through those divisions, also winning the FA Trophy on the way, and then also winning the National League North. Both of those happened the year before he did it. But we then finished 3rd and went up in the playoffs the year they won the National League. We finished 2nd in League 2 last year and got promoted the year they won the playoffs. We are moving parallel with Chester. That's our trajectory over the last 10 years or so. And theirs is really similar. If we make our way back to Chester, and that's their trajectory over the last 10 years. They're on course for back-to-back 4 consecutive promotions for Chester if they can avoid bottling it now they don't have a manager. And people think it's unrealistic what we've been doing. That is nuts. There's not been money there. I don't know how they've done it. Okay, they spent 800 grand. Perhaps there has been money. Or did they sell... How did they spend £800,000? That's mad. Okay, so they've had some money this season, but previously they didn't have any money. Did they get taken over by a rich man or something? They've got a chairman who wins election. No, because they've got I don't understand where they got their money from this time round. Weird stuff. But enough about Chester. That's not what today's episode is about. I just thought it was an interesting story and interesting to see what happens to them now their manager's moved on. We'll keep an eye on what Richie Wellens does at Hull, and we'll also see if Chester now start to fall down the league. Was it all about him? Is he that good a manager? I find it hard for a former cobbler, but maybe he is. But it is January. In addition to all that, there have been transfers going on. In particular, we've had our second largest transfer out in history, with Patrick Webber leaving to go to Burton. This one I agonised over for a little while, but looking at our finances, we definitely needed £250,000. And I thought this was an area where we could probably make £250,000. 26 years old now. Yes, he was massively important for 3 years. He was one of our better players. But this year, he's kind of lost his place in the defence. Only started 7 games in that first half of the season. Very much our backup centre-back now with Palchik, is that his name? And Pasala, both there as left-backs. And that kind of money being offered, I thought, you know what? We can take the money on this occasion. We've also sold a couple of youngsters as well. Graham Brown, who came through our youth team, but never got a Patreon owner. So this is one who actually turned out not awful. but was never picked up along the way. He's gone to Dundalk for £27,000. And Vincent Agyemang, who we might end up regretting because this guy's got bags of potential, but just never made his way past Humphreys and Civita. He's gone to Ghana to play for Hearts of Oak. Is he from Ghana? He is from Ghana, so I guess we'll never hear from him again. And also Matty Wolf has gone out on loan for the season, or for the rest of the season, because there has been a couple of significant loan signings. Firstly, Gary Sutherland. We finally have the centre-back we've been looking for since the summer. 21-year-old centre-back from Sunderland, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He just comes in as the best centre-back at the club. We haven't played him yet, but he'll make his debut today if he's fit. I can't remember whether he was in the team when I picked it last night. More significantly than Gary Sutherland, though, David Sawinski is back. He was away for half a season. We sold him last summer to Leeds for £350,000, but he is now back on loan for the rest of the season. We're having to pay half of his wages, so he's not a cheap loan, but he's continued to improve in his time away, and again comes in as the best player in the club in his position, better than Bakinson, better than Fernandez, still with that 5-star potential as well. So Sawinski is back. In addition to that, Lewis Tyler has agreed a loan until the end of next season. We did that straight after he got his hat-trick against Man City under 23s. So that by the end of his loan period, he'll have been on loan with us for 5 years, and that also coincides with his contract at Aston Villa expiring. So of course we'll try and sign him permanently then. He's a club legend who we've never owned. And one final loan signing, he's just to offer a bit of backup in the attack. Obviously, we've got Harris, we've got Powell. I think I'm done with Poloskaj, though. So we've kind of only really had 2 strikers. So Karl Marsh comes in to offer some competition to Harris and Powell. He's on loan from Leicester to the end of the season. 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. Apparently, not as good as Harris, a little bit better than Powell. That goal return doesn't suggest he's any good, though, but he's not costing us anything. He can come in and make up the numbers for a little while. That's not necessarily the end of our transfer business either, because it is January and we still are in debt. There have been multiple offers come in for Alex Carmichael, who there's the most recent ones that we've turned down. Can we see how much they were? 120,000 from QPR. We've put an asking price of £1.4 million on him. So it'll be interesting. That was one of the reasons I sold Webber, to try and get us as close back to break even as I could, so that we could hang on for a bigger fee for Carmichael. That's the plan at the moment. But it's mad, really, because he's barely played for us. But these bigger clubs really are interested in him. But I've just brought David Sawinski back in over his head. He's our 9th best central midfielder. He isn't playing for us anytime soon, but he's definitely creating some interest from bigger clubs. We just need him to do a Mick Powell and just wake up one morning and be the best midfielder at the club. Then we'll give him some game time. But that's transfer news, and let's get, that was a long intro. Let's do some matches. So we'd like to keep our unbeaten run going. That's the plan. We've got Humphreys in goal, a back four of Palick, Proctor, a debut for Sutherland alongside Proctor and Simpson at right back. Phillips as our holding midfield player with Fernandez and Bakinson in front of him. Tyler, Harris and Sinclair make up our front three. We do have a slight issue with regards to David Sawinski, and it's that we've now got too many loan players at the club to be able to play them all at once. We've got Sutherland, Fernandez, Sinclair, Tyler, Marsh and Sawinski, so we can only have 5 in the matchday squad. So today Sawinski does miss out because he's the one we need the least. But I'm a little bit worried that there's interest for Eric Fernandez from other clubs. I made an inquiry. They quoted me £400,000 to buy him back. His contract's up in the summer. I hope that interest from Lincoln is just for the summer, but he does have a recall clause on his loan contract. So if Lincoln come in and offer the 400 grand, Fernandez could be whipped out from under us, which was again one of the motivations for bringing back Sawinski. That and the fact they always come home. We have to bring them back when we have the opportunity to bring them back. So whether it's on loan, whether it's permanent, they always come home, and we will be doing everything in our power to get the band back together. Every time it gets split up, I mean, I was going to blame Serenik Nuhu there, but he's not even there to split us up anymore. It'll be interesting to see where the new chairman sits on accepting offers that I don't think we should accept. Because as much as I loved Serenik Nuhu, we did squabble about that from time to time. Right, we would like to win this match. So let's tell them we'd like to win this match and then hopefully go out there and win this match. We're also keeping an eye on what Chester are up to because today is their first game without Richie Wellens as manager. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that. They've been in incredible form, charging up the table. As you can see, they lost quite a few games early on, but are on quite a long consecutive winning run at the moment. And hopefully the wheels are about to fall off because we want to get promoted. I think now we're into January and we're in an automatic promotion position. I think it's fair to say we would like to try and get promoted again this season. We are still officially battling against relegation as far as the board are concerned, but when you have an opportunity like that put in front of you, you just have to keep trying to win games and hope. We're not going to be really disappointed if we end up in the playoffs or if we end up slipping out of it altogether. But at the same time, we're trying to get promoted now. Look at the state of that from Lewis Tyler. I don't understand why Villa keep letting him come back to us. Either he could be in their team or they could have sold him for some money at some point. But as it is, he'll be on loan here for 5 years and we all love him for it. And you never know, he might be the first player to get knighted. He did get the goal at Wembley that got us promoted to the Football League. After all, we still haven't given out a knighthood yet on It's Coming Home this year. I only gave out 2 in the whole of Back in the Borough last year. And I think we all agree they were the right 2. Even though there were some more, there were loads of heroes along the way. There were only 2 absolute superstar legends of the save. And I'm still not sure we found either of a real superstar legend of the save yet with Holme. We've got a few who could get there, who are in the current makeup, but no one's quite done that thing yet to make it warranted to give them a knighthood, I don't think. Right, here's Tyler again, out to Pallick. Pallick with a cross. Sinclair is there. That looks like it's a goal to me, but apparently the game disagrees, which troubles me greatly. And now Bolton have a free kick, and that also looked like that went in. I think I need new spectacles. I don't understand what's happening. There are now 4 teams tied at the top of the league on 51 points, with Portsmouth on 50, Oxford on 49. It's quite tight at the top of League One this season. That's what I mean about how I'm not going to be that disappointed if we end up not even in the playoffs, because although we're joint top at the moment, we're also 1 point outside of not being in the playoffs. So a run of results, either good or bad, is going to have a huge say in what happens to the rest of our season. Right, let's assertively say we've been the better team here. Let's go grab a goal in this second half. Because we have been the better team. We've controlled possession. We've created more chances. We just haven't created that killer chance yet. And we do have the new boy on the bench. I don't know that I'm going to bring him on in a game like this. But we have got striking options again outside of just Harris and Powell. Although Anthony Harris has been in great form in the last half dozen games or so. I think he's up to 11 or 12 goals for the season now, which isn't the worst goal return in the world. Fernandez from miles out. Oh, we've won a penalty. How has that even happened? I don't know what we've won a penalty for, but it's Anthony Harris to take. And if he scores it, we'll find out exactly how many goals he's on for the season. Harris does score, puts us 1-0 up, and there you go. That's his 13th goal of the season now. Anthony Harris, the most highly paid player in the history of the football club, is starting to justify the amount of money we're throwing at him every month because it's a very good goal return from Anthony Harris. And it looks like Chester have gone ahead in their game as well. So it's us and Chester back where we were at the start of the episode. Joint top, 53 points each. And it doesn't look like they're missing Richie Wellens at all just yet. Simpson now with the cross finds Harris. Harris somehow bundles it over the line. I don't even know if that's going to go down as a Harris goal. It hasn't. It's an own goal. It was very scrappy. As you can see at the bottom there, this will make it 15 league games without defeat. We are in incredible form. But Simpson with the cross. Harris, I think that's quite harsh not to put that down as an Anthony Harris goal. He's just kind of bundled it through 4 Bolton players. It's not his fault that they've been really incompetent about defending it, and it was going in when he first hit it. So I would be making a claim for that being an Anthony Harris goal. Bakinson from the edge of the area goes just wide. He's another player who's been in very good form recently, and I've actually been toying with the idea of dropping Lerick Fernandez to get David Sawinski back into the team. I think if I was going to take one of those midfielders out on current form, it would be Fernandez who loses his place, although Fernandez is obviously the better of the two today. Let's get Harris off, bring Powell on, Have we got Connor Stanley on the bench? Of course we have. So we can get Powell and Stanley on. Attack of the Conference North superheroes coming onto the pitch. Stanley's actually extended his contract until the end of next season. There was a little bit of transfer interest in him. And although he's lost his place in the team to Sinclair recently, I still want him around. He's a super. We can't call him a home original because he's not, but he feels like one to me. He's been around so long. Last change of the game, we're going to bring off Bakinson, bring Cannon on in midfield to do that second ball-winning midfielder role. We talked about that, I think, in yesterday's episode, about how having him and Phillips both in there as the tough tacklers does kind of release whoever's playing with them, whether it's Fernandez, whether it's Bakinson. And today, Fernandez gets the nod because Bakinson was on a yellow card. Simpson now on the overlap. Cross comes in. It finds Tyler, who hits the post, and quite an unlucky deflection for him to not end up in the back of the net there for a second own goal. But we've got a corner. It's Cannon to take, and it's cleared by Bolton. And I think that's probably that. We've got about a minute left, but I don't think Bolton are getting back into the game at this point. And it is still super, super tight at the top of League One. It's about as I don't remember in recent history, beyond halfway in the season, the top of the table, certainly in this series, being this tight. We've had a couple of tight Bundesligas in non-league to legend, but not with 7 or 8 teams still in with a shout of winning the league with nearly 30 games played. That's mad. Right, we'll calmly say, well done. We did play very well. Hopefully, we'll play very well again against Barnsley, Fernandez's parent club. So this is going to be an opportunity to get Sawinski back into the team because Fernandez won't be able to play in that one. And hopefully, we can keep the run of form going. Oh, we've managed to negotiate QPR all the way up to £700,000 for Alex Carmichael, who is hinting that he wants to go out on loan because he's not playing first team football. Oh, that is money that would be so important to us. The only problem is it would just be eaten up in no time. You know what? I respect the fact my board haven't gone over my head and forced that through, so I'm going to reject it and hold out for the £1.4 million that I've previously agreed with Carmichael and his agent and the board. That's the price he goes for, not a penny less, unless the board do the dirty on. Watch them now go and accept $250,000 for him in a week's time after we've just turned down $700,000. It will upset me a lot. I don't know, yesterday's video, we got the bin men making all the noise outside. Now we've got pouring rain bouncing off the garage roof. I assume you can hear it. I don't know if you can. If you can, that's what it is. If you can't, forget what I'm saying. But as far as I'm concerned, we're just going for realism because it is wet for this match against Barnsley. So, realism, isn't it? I might start only playing matches when the weather is appropriate to what it says in game. There's a level of realism. Forget Google Maps and house hunting. I'm going to start playing in realistic weather conditions. Right, we've made just one change to the team for this game. We've brought Cannon into the midfield for Fernandez, who can't play because it's his parent club. Sawinski does come up onto the bench, but I don't think it's right to just throw Sawinski straight back into the team. Cannon's been playing well when he's had the opportunity to, and I do like this midfield shape rather than the two attacking central midfielders. And I do get flashbacks to the second half of last season when Fernandez and Sawinski just couldn't play together, and I wonder if that'll be a similar situation with Bakinson. So Sawinski can start from the bench and come on and make an impression. He's got to make a big impression, because he's got to prove that he deserves to be one of the 5 lone players who gets in the matchday squad. And Sutherland, Sinclair and Tyler are always going to be there. Fernandez is always going to be there. So he's basically in a battle with Carl Marsh, who still hasn't ever played a game for us. It shouldn't be that much of a battle, really. But I'm always on the lookout for that prolific goal scorer, and Marsh might end up being that man. Anthony Harris, by the way, with Webber leaving the club, officially became club vice-captain again. And as he's playing ahead of Powell, he's effectively captaining the game every week at the moment. Anthony Harris is our captain again, boys and girls. Right, let's passionately say we owe Barnsley. We do owe Barnsley. We played Barnsley twice in relatively quick succession earlier in the season, in both the league and I think the League Cup, and they were so much better than us in both matches. And it would be nice to go 1-0 up after 3 minutes for an Anthony Harris header with his 14th goal of the season. it would be nice to show them how we've developed as the season has gone on. We not only do we look like a much better team than we did at the start of this season, we now look like a much better team than we did at any point last season when we got promoted from League Two. We're actually playing good football again. We're scoring goals again. What a difference having a relatively prolific striker in the side is making. And I know you lot get upset when I get down on Mick Powell, but I do think that was the issue last year. I think Anthony Harris, now he's bedded back into the team, now he's used to the way we play, now he's confident and happy again, he's starting to score goals really quite regularly again. And the better Anthony Harris gets, the better we're getting as a team, because we have our focal point again, and it's awesome. Sutherland plays it forward to Sinclair on this right-hand side, who's got lots of space to run into. Plays it over the top to Harris, who just uses his pace and slams it into the top corner for his second of the game, his 15th for the season. And that felt like the Anthony Harris of old. He just absolutely ruined the defender for pace and then finished comfortably. This is what he used to do week in, week out, back in the Northern Premier League, Division 1 East. And now he's doing it in League 1 5 years later. And he's run off doing a chicken dance to celebrate. And you know what, Anthony? You deserve that chicken dance, because that was a lovely finish. And could we be in line for the first Anthony Harris hat-trick since his return to home, which will be his first hat-trick since he left, because he hasn't scored goals for anyone else, really. Right, let's assertively say, don't let performance drop. We have played very, very well in that first half. 68% possession against any team at any level is ridiculous, but against a team who earlier this year outclassed us, it's double incredible with bells on. Tyler now plays it forward pretty. I think he was looking for himself. It was fairly aimless. Barnsley have come out for this second half keen. They've had a good first 30 seconds. They've put us under pressure a little bit here, and we need to get the ball back and not let them do what they've just done. I don't know that we started the second half talking about all the possession we've had. I think they had a solid 40 seconds of possession there without us getting anywhere near the ball, and it's ended with a goal. I think they probably had quite a good half-time team talk, and now we need to, I guess, concentrate would be the thing to say. Just concentrate, and I've overwhelmed them. Amazing. Absolutely. I don't know why I bother with the shouts, because the only one that ever works is show some passion. And I don't know it actually works in game. I'm just trying to say it often enough so I can put it on a t-shirt and you won't think I'm money grabbing, but I love money. It's not on a t-shirt yet. 10 minutes of passion. Coming to a merch store near you soon. Look, I can't sell the home shirts anymore. I've got to flog something. I've got kids to feed. And Heath Slater already stole the I've Got Kids t-shirt. Right, we're moving Cannon back to play in the Shane Phillips position, with Phillips going off. Sawinski can come on to play alongside Bakinson in midfield, and we're also going to bring on Craig Coleman for Tyler, just because inside forwards. I like inside forwards. I love Lewis Tyler, but I like inside forwards, and Coleman does tend to play well whenever he gets an opportunity, but we've given the ball away there, and perhaps making the midfield too fancy might not have been the smartest thing to do in the circumstances. But Sawinski's got a point to prove, because I was quite critical of what happened to the team after he came into it last year. Never blaming him. It was never his fault. Clearly the move showed how good a player he was individually, but it did upset the balance of the team trying to fit him and Fernandez in. So he needs to show that he can play with Bakinson and have the two of them keep Fernandez out. That seems to be the logical thing to look for. But forget all of that, because there's your Anthony Harris hat-trick. Barnsley 1, home 3, 16 goals for the season now for Anthony Harris, and he's scored another header. That's one thing he never used to do back in the day, but he's clearly learnt to score headers. Anthony Harris, complete striker. What a finish. I'm so glad that I think we're getting to the point where we can say, yes, pursuing Anthony Harris for 5 seasons was the right thing to do. The hero has returned, and he's brilliant. Right, Bakinson is injured now, so we didn't get long to look at the two of them playing together, and we don't have another midfielder on the bench. It's suggesting George Tanner comes on to play in midfield. That seems silly. It seems like a perfect opportunity to bring on Marsh and go to a 4-4-2 and stick Marsh up front with Harris and see if he's any good. So put him up there. What type of forward are you? You're an advanced forward. I'm afraid we've already got quite a good one of those, so you're going to have to be a deep lying forward. Sinclair can come back and play in midfield. Can Coleman manage midfield? Probably not. No, you can stay up there then as an inside forward. And we'll do this. In fact, we're going to swap those two over. Make Sawinski a Mazzala, because then he's going to get out into this area that Coleman's going to leave behind him. I'm actually thinking... I'm sorry for those of you who've been around for a long time and aren't used to this. But I'm actually thinking about how to put this team together. There we go. That seems to make sense for the final 10 minutes. And let's see if Karl Marsh is any good. See what happens when Harris has a strike partner. He has had Powell alongside him a few times this season, but they haven't really clicked as a partnership. And they never really did. I always used to say they struggled to play together way back when. But Marsh might be exactly what Harris needs. Although, to be fair, he scored a hat-trick without a strike partner. He doesn't need anyone up there with him. But it does let Sinclair play in his preferred position on the right side of midfield, which he hasn't done hardly at all since he's been here. And Barnsley have another goal. Barnsley 2, Holme 3. 2 minutes left to go. And we need to make sure we don't do anything stupid. I don't want to see that. I want to say don't do anything stupid. Tighten up. There we go. Focus. There you go. Oh, I've convinced people. I don't know what that means. We've got lots of players who are convinced. Clearly, tighten up works. But we've won. And that's the important thing. Back-to-back home wins. Yeah, let's actually do the Jekyll and Hyde thing. Because in the second half, we weren't as good in the first. We've gained some focus going into the big game against Chester in the Mickey Mouse Cup. Which, did Chester lose? Chester lost. There you go. The wheels are off. Chester are done. And we're clear at the top of the league, albeit by just 1 point. Does that even count as clear? But we are top of the league in our own right. 30 games played. 16 still to go. Could we go back to back to back? I hope we can. Right, we'll be back again. We're going to do another half dozen games. In fact, forget that. We're going to do Posh. It's our local derby. That does actually work out at roughly the right point anyway. We'll do Posh and Luton at the start of March. We'll know then whether we're realistically in a promotion hunt and how many more episodes we need to squeeze into this season. But I suspect it might be Posh and Luton, and then maybe the last couple of the season, celebrate promotion. Championship, here we come. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. It's probably not going to be that simple. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.